First guest. This is a good one. We enjoy this guy a lot. Congressman from Arizona, now running for governor of Arizona. He's been endorsed by the late Charlie Kirk and by President Trump. Congressman says President Biden personally signed Hunter Biden's pardon, while all the other pardons that he signed, some 8,000 plus, were signed by Autopen. Let's bring on Congressman Andy Biggs to join us today. Congressman, really good to have you on, my friend. We'll get to the governorship race soon, but let's talk a little bit about this Autopen. It's mind-boggling, isn't it, that the only signature that Joe Biden actually used his hand to sign in pardons or whatever commutations was for his own son, and the rest were Autopen. He has no idea who sold what for a pardon. Am I right?
You're 100% right. I mean, and when you think about it, it's indicative of the chaos and lack of leadership we had in the White House. I mean, so you get a chief of staff saying, I didn't send that email that was under my name. So and so did, and then that lady says, well, I did send it under his name, but I wasn't at the meeting where this stuff was discussed. You've got it's just amazing. People saying that we didn't want his cognitive capacity to be tested because it would politically be unsavory. Good grief! In fact, the Hunter Biden literally sat in the meeting where they were discussing the pardons for the entire Biden family. General Milley, who, by the way, is the guy who called the Chinese communist leaders and said, don't worry about Donald Trump. If he's going to take action against you, I will warn you first. Isn't that treason? And then you have Dr. Fauci. Joe Biden was there basically, but not there. Hunter Biden basically, where it indicates to us, he might have been leading that discussion. And this is crazy. This is just absolutely insanity.
And I'm looking up the number as we speak. He pardoned literally thousands of people. If he only signed one, let's just say he pardoned somewhere around 8,000 folks. Yeah. Who the heck was making this decisions on the pardons? And do you think some of these pardons were? I do. I'll call it out right now. I'll bet you they sold some pardons. Sold them. People were taking money in exchange or quid pro quo for a pardon that Joe Biden didn't even know he was signing.
Well, I mean, it's obvious and clear that Joe Biden was not personally approving every one of those Autopen signatures, right? And there's a congeries of people around him that seem to have access to the Autopen and access to these pardons. And where was the individual? You know, when Trump, you watch Donald Trump, when he signs a pardon, commutation, executive order, legislation, whatever it is, there's a person standing there, usually a dude, and he is literally telling the president what he is signing every time. And you get the feeling that was not happening at all in the Biden administration, which leads to the potential threat. And some people have suggested that maybe there was some purchases of these pardons. And we didn't see any of that because we had so many people taking the fifth as we were doing some of these depositions, and others just flat out saying that, oh, I never saw Joe Biden when he was deteriorating. That's just simply not true. That's just simply not true.
Congressman, you suggested Joe Biden may have been running the White House, and I think you're probably very, very right. The way she acted, the way she was so disappointed when he was kind of pushed out of the White House. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at it, Dr. Jill is the one, I believe that she committed elderly abuse. I mean, Joe Biden was not cognitively capable the first time he ran in 2020 when he won that, but he kept deteriorating and she kept protecting him. And when they made decisions, and I believe the testimony indicated pretty clearly that she was involved in these decisions not to have him cognitively tested. And the reason they didn't have him cognitively tested is because they thought that would be a political liability if that had happened. And then you have the doctor who was a partner in business with some of the Biden family, had been there for years. He refused to answer our questions on that. So I just look at it as Dr. Jill was trying to take the place of Woodrow Wilson's wife. Remember when she was kind of running the White House? And neither you and I were alive, but history is pretty clear that Woodrow Wilson was out of it for the last year and a half, and his wife was running the country. I believe Dr. Jill enjoyed that position. I think she enjoyed the authority that came with it, and I believe that she was basically kind of running that White House.
Back to the
if anybody was.
Yeah.
If anybody was.
We both know, sir, we both know that it's with the exception of Donald Trump, because he runs every single little minute detail of everything that is going on in the country. We know that presidents generally aren't necessarily the ones making decisions on most of the matters. It's a group of sometimes dozens, if not hundreds, of high-level advisors and aides and a lot of inputs. Trump, it seems to be the exception. But back to the signatures, if we do find out that some of these pardons or commutations were sold, will we, again, we're going to have General Flynn on it in a little bit, but I'm still waiting to see some perp walks. We talk about how many times they violated the trust of the American people, how many things they've done illegally, constitutionally wrong, and no one ever seems to pay a price for it on either side, sir.
Yeah, and here's the part, and I'm with you, man. I just did a teletown hall last night. People are frustrated. People are frustrated about that because you look at it and you say, okay, what did Clapper do? Well, Clapper basically set up with Brennan a complete ostensible coup of a de facto coup trying to limit President Trump's authority, power, and ability to govern. That, to me, is there's got to be some criminality there. You got General Milley calling the Chinese Communist government and assuring them that he's going to warn them. Those types of things are crimes. Those are crimes. And then if you have somebody selling these pardons or commutations, that's a crime. If you have people who are basically running the country willy-nilly, I suggest that you might have crimes there. The point is, I know that we've had under Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, you've actually had some people arrested. You don't hear a lot about them, and they're being prosecuted. But you're not seeing any of the high profiles. You're not seeing the kingpins, as we used to call them, where the kingpin, who is the organizer and the one that's actually driving that. You're not seeing any of those people. They're being protected, I think, somehow.
Yeah. So now you've decided you're not going to run for re-election in Congress. You're going to run for governor of Arizona. We talked to Sheriff Lamb, who's running for your vacated seat in 26. And we talk about how Arizona, growing up, Arizona it's just a solid red state. It seems like over the last couple of cycles, it's gone purple. How do you get Arizona back to solidly red?
Well, it's actually moving back there organically in some ways. And the other part is Republicans are actually more active and excited than they've been in a long time. They like what President Trump's doing. Generically speaking, they gave him the biggest win in battleground states by 160,000 votes, turned out more than 300,000 low propensity Republican voters. And quite frankly, the Republican margin of registrations over Democrats used to be 4% during when President Trump won in 2024. It is now 8%, and it's growing. Eric, Arizona, you're thinking of like I do, the Barry Goldwaters of the world, who even John McCain, and just always Republican. Well, we fell and stumbled, and we got three lousy leaders at the top, and we're paying the price of it. And Arizonans are saying no more. And I just think that we're going to see massive turnout again, and we're moving red, and we're going to take this back out to bottom.
You mentioned Barry Goldwater, and very coincidentally, last night I was on a Libertarian Party podcast last night, and we're talking about what's it going to take to bring folks back to younger people back to caring about the country and caring about for me, libertarian politics, conservatarian politics, where it's kind of libertarian, kind of Republican. And what I said was, in a very, very odd, strange way, God bless his soul, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I think, opened the door for young people to realize that all the stuff that they're being taught in the universities, in the school systems, has been a load of BS, and that it's okay to speak your mind. It's okay to be conservative. And somehow in the wake of the death or assassination of Charlie Kirk, this may be the turning point, so to speak, for states like Arizona, 11 electoral votes, to turn back to solidly red. Final thought on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. Charlie was a friend, and I will say he was a martyr. And that martyrdom almost always brings back and invigorates a movement. And that movement, I see it all over the place. People are coming to me. They're wearing the T-shirts all over Arizona. They're wearing Charlie Kirk T-shirts. This is really happening. And the other thing that it did, Eric, is it exposed how wickedly crazy, and when I emphasize wickedly crazy, the left is, where they applauded the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Here's a guy who's out there he's literally going to have a free speech event, and he is assassinated, and the left is thrilled by it.
In a T-shirt that says freedom on his chest. There's, Charlie has had prophesized about his imminent assassination, which is wild to me. Congressman, really good. And by the way, Charlie Kirk endorsed that man right there, Andy Biggs, for the next governor of the state of Arizona. Congressman, really good to have you on. I'm sure we will have you on a bunch more times leading up to that election. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks, Eric. Take care, man.